Hello, everyone. How are you? Whew, that light was just a wee bit too bright. I'm trying to get things set up a little better today. So, hello. How are you? It's so good to see you. It's another chilly day. I tell you what, this has been quite the winter. So let me see how we can get this set up. So I am here. And I was just going to tell y'all too that next on the 18th, I believe, of February is the 8th anniversary of us being here together. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I've had a busy week this week, and I'm just going to say one thing. When you send ugly memes or messages about someone, it says more about you, the sender, than it does the people you think you're insulting. So I'm going to let it go at that. So, hello, everybody. It's so good to see you. And let me try to pull myself together. And just want to give a shout out to Ukraine. I still have the flag on the front porch. So, we're going to hope that we could go ahead. You know, we could have saved a lot if we had just helped them from the beginning. So, let's see what we can do. So behind me here, you will see thank you, Marsha, hi. You will see my Pecan Blossom quilt. Now, let me see who is going to be the smart one who realizes there's a mistake on it. Let me see if I can bring it forward a little more and let you enjoy looking at it. And let's see who's the first person who realizes, yes, there is a mistake there. Because I've had quite a time this week. I love that quilt. I'm so glad I made it. And that I'm thrilled that I made it because it reminds me of a colonial kind of era. It has that feel to it. And, you know, that was my first love being raised near Williamsburg, is loving colonial Williamsburg. Yes, Lisa, you are so, look, we got another one. Jen Cast, yes. This flower right here is facing the wrong direction. It's supposed to be facing out. So let me tell you about this quilt. All right. So I was sewing along. As of last week, I had all my components put together. I had these two pieces put together, had these put together, this put together. So I was so excited that I was going to be ready to just then assemble. Well, I noticed that the first block I made, these matched beautifully because these little points right here. And I thought, that's really nice. But then when I started putting together the other blossoms, they would not line up. It was a mess. Oh, that's fine, Jen. I don't know if you've been coming here long, but I like showing my mistakes because if I can make the mistakes, then you can make the mistakes. You know, you won't feel bad because you'll say, Deb already made them all. But anyway, I was like, what is wrong? And I had one row and I said, it's pretty, but this little part is not matching up. And it did when I was at class. Why is it not doing now? he looked at it and he said, and this is why it's so good to have people look at your work. He said, "Hon, this triangle right here is the same size as those, but on the one where it matches, it's larger." And I realized these were 1.5-inch squares that I sewed on and then flipped and then pressed over and flipped to give this design. This was supposed to be 1 3/4. And for some reason, once I got home from the class, I used the 1.5 instead of the 1 3/4 for the base of the flower bud. So right at that base. So when I realized it, I said, I've only got 4 of the 48 that are right. I went through. The hardest was changing the 2 blocks on the top row that were already in place with it wrong, because that's always harder once it's set in. Like to do this block right here, I'm going to try and show you how do you go about repairing it, because it is tricky. It is very tricky. And if you ever get flummoxed and you're not sure how, I've taken this block out and I've got to put it back in and it's given me a fit, baste it in by hand. That is the best advice I can give you, because it lets you slow down, back up, make sure everything matches, make sure it's fit in. Then once it's basted by hand, then you could come to the machine. But the machine, understand, when you sew things on the machine, the weight of the quilt tends to pull at it, and it's really tricky. So the 2 blocks that I had to finish, I think, were these 2, had to redo. And what I tried not to take them all the way out of the quilt. Sometimes it might be better to take them all the way out. But I took off the small triangles and I put on the larger square, sewed it right down the diagonal, flipped it over, cut the excess off, pressed it, boom. So, and the teacher was right. If you make this quilt, it's lovely because it looks like applique, but it's not. It's very simple in a lot of ways. You just have to keep track of everything, keep everything labeled, all of that. But, what was that? Well, I forgot. I think the train's leaving the station. But just keep track of all the little pieces and make sure you have them just where they should go. Hi, Miss Mary's back. Poor Miss Mary had a fit with the snow. Let me tell you, she had some garage roof problems from the weight of the snow. So we are happy she's here. So I worked on this on and off all week, but I had to take 44 of the little flower bud blocks, and I had to redo them. And some of them, like that top corner, is not perfect, but I had taken the pieces out so many times, I was starting to damage the fabric. And when you do that, you go, good enough. And I'm not going to enter this in a show. It's just for me. And it's very much like me. It's not perfect, but it's fun and lovely. And so that's good enough. You have to know in quilting or any of the arts when to stand back and go, that's good enough. So anyway, I just thought I would show you that. And let me write a reminder, because I kind of like to show you, okay, what does it take to take a block out and fix it? So I'm going to write block down here so that if we have time, I would like to take this block out and turn it the right direction. So it's one of those things, anytime you're dealing with a quilt like this that has a lot of moving pieces, have someone double check it, because a fresh view of something is, you spot it. And soon as he said, that triangle's small, but the ones that are pretty, the triangle's bigger, it was like, bing, I knew what I had done. So I've got half of this is done now. Those are 6. All the components are fixed and ready to go, so I'll have this put together this week, early this week. Because once you get all the components done, it goes together pretty fast. I like the fabric. If anybody from the Myrtle Beach class is watching, thank you for your suggestions for the 9 patches. They help me choose the fabric. That's another thing. Have people, if you have people around you, ask for their opinion. I really like, especially since the middle 9 patches, they're kind of an elongated 9 patch. They're kind of paler, but I like the nice, sharp, snappy 9 patches of the sashing and the border, the cornerstone blocks. That's what they're called. So, okay, let's see. So I'm going to end up doing that once we get everything done. My procedure, I just want to let you know about this. You know, I have the kidney stone pieces that are being very stubborn and don't want to leave. And when you only have 1 kidney left, you can't afford to have anything mess it up. So it looks like now in 2 weeks, I'm going to have the procedure, which is just going to leave me 2 weeks to get back on my feet before my daughter's wedding. So in 4 weeks, she will be Mrs. Rebecca Foster. So I'm very excited about that. Looking forward to it. And I've got her quilt to make. So this week, guess what I'm working on? I'm going to try to get this. I'm trying so hard to become more disciplined and get things done. And it feels good to get things done. And I'm on limited time. You know, once you hit 60, you realize you're not guaranteed all the time in the world to get your quilts done. So I'm trying to be swift with that. But anyway, but I'm going to start my daughter's quilt. I have decided, let me see if I can show you. I've decided on what I'm going to do. Andy, her fiance, loves mid-century modern. Becky loves cottage. So it's kind of like, how can what I take from that is to have a soft, gentle look, but to have clean lines for Andy. So the wedding quilt that I'm making them, and I'm determined to have it done before the wedding. This will be the first child who gets their wedding quilt before the wedding. So now let me, come on, where is, I've been having micey problems. So let me see all day today. There it is. It's working. Yay. So let me find, oh, Mark even put this. Mark has been wonderful. While I'm trying to find this picture, I will tell you that yesterday I made at least 5 quarts of spaghetti sauce. That was very good. I absolutely now love making foods in giant batches and freezing it. And you know what Mark's been doing? I'm afraid to say it out loud because it's so wonderful. He's been cooking every night. So it's really nice. And he said, yeah, when I have stuff, you know, when I put meatloaf in the freezer, chili, spaghetti, beef stroganoff, chicken soup, he said that's so easy. You just take it out and you warm it up. And so I'm getting very busy to make some more stuff to put in the freezer because that is awfully nice. It means for me, it means I can go back and sew and really focus on something. Now it's just so nice because I don't know about y'all, but I have a hard time sometimes in stopping and starting what I'm doing. It's so frustrating for me. Okay, so now the colors will not be this same color, but This is what inspired me the best. Thank you, Miss Marsha. You're just so sweet. And this is the quilt. I kept going around and around. The colors are going to be a little bit of red, but mostly pinks and greens and aqua, a little bit of aqua and a little bit of gray. It is from the Three Sisters line, porcelain. I bought the jelly roll at my November retreat. I loved it. And so I just this week ordered from a seller on Etsy a couple fabrics to go with it. And what I ended up thinking about was, how about a log cabin? There's something that tugs the heart about log cabins. One of the things is it's built around hearth and home. Usually the center little block of a log cabin is supposed to represent the hearth, the fire, the warm place, the place of cooking and food and everything warm. But I saw this design and thought, that's really pretty. And it wouldn't even be hard if I wanted to turn that center diamond into a heart. It might not be that hard. I'm not sure yet about the heart because I don't want it to be kind of corny. But in fact, let me show you. There was another one somewhere. But look at all those. Aren't they beautiful? Let me drop this down a minute and find the one. Here it is. Now, the thing I don't like about this heart quilt is the way it was done. It looks like a bug face to me. So I'm not overly fond of having the light part in here, but it is possible. I wonder if you could have the heart part in the middle, but then go back to, I don't know. I don't know how exactly it would work, but I think a good log cabin. And I don't know. So I'm kind of going over all the possibilities. But right now, I think this is the one that tugged on my heart the most. And I think it's right pretty. So it reminds me, what's striking about this quilt is the juxtaposition of the very light and then some very dark fabrics. So I want to keep that in mind because it just really makes it pop. But most of her quilt's going to be soft, more, not really pastels, but cottage colors. But there are a couple strips of that jelly roll that are a little more dynamic. And I kind of like this. So I think this one's going to be the new one. And I'll have to see how quickly I can get that made, because in 4 weeks I have to have it pieced and I have to have it quilted. So I need to make sure, I've got everything. All right. Let me see. Outside, we still have snow on the ground. And the only places that don't have snow are places that receive direct sunlight. So Mark has been really busy shoveling out the snow. But don't let me complain, because I have some pictures from Hopi. Oh my goodness. When you see her snow, you will, wow. I have been so upset about things going on. And hi, Miss Joe. I've been so upset about things that are going on in the country right now. I keep thinking I want to move to Canada. And I've watched a couple wonderful YouTube videos on the difference between USA and Canada. And one of them made me cry. It was so sweet. I know what it was. Yes, it's going to be ambitious of the time crunch. It's a shame you don't live closer, Debbie. I'd get you to help me. But she doesn't want it too big. It's going to be a wall hanging, so that saves me a little. But the thing in the YouTube video I saw about what's wonderful about Canada. Showed a turnstile where you're supposed to pay a toll to get through to ride whatever subway or whatever it was. The worker was not at the turnstile. I'm going to get emotional. The patrons had all put their money and tickets on top of the turnstile before they went through. So there was a pile of all of the ticket money. And that got me because things are, yeah, y'all could all make me a block. That would be great. But it got me because it seems like in this country right now, we've lost our kindness and we've lost our humanity and our caring. And when two innocent, nonviolent people get killed, and the person in power says, well, they weren't perfect. And it's like, excuse me? Excuse me? So that's all I'm going to say about it because it'll get me all riled up. But anyway, so I've got some pictures today to show you. My daughter did another mini house kit, and it is so cute. And I'll tell you what, these mini houses evidently are taking the country by storm. So how much fun. Marcia has a shovel. Yeah, Mark has had to do all of the areas out there. Oh boy. And the little wild birds have been keeping us so busy. I showed you the pictures last week of my wild bird feeder hanging on my living room window. Well, a squirrel discovered it yesterday. She hasn't gotten up on it yet, but she discovered it. I'm thinking, oh no, that would mess up everything because her weight would pull it right off the window. So we will see. I was looking around to think of what to talk to you about today. Oops, let me come back to the main. I forgot and left you on the quilt. I just wanted to show you something that Hopi gave me for Christmas. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that wonderful? She got it from an art and craft show that she was working at herself because she sells her beautiful art. But is that the most beautiful thing? On the back, it's sending a hug to me. So I just love that. I just wanted to show you. And when I'm not so stressed and busy, I'm going to play this game. This is a roll the dice game. It's like, what do you feel like doing today? So you roll it. Well, you could do the cleaning sewing space. I think I'll keep rolling it. And then finish a UFO, bind a quilt, organize your stash, clean your sewing space. Let me see. Start a new project. Now, how did they know to put that on that side? Buy fabric. Ooh. So anyway, but that's a fun game to do. And I'm going to, as soon as I'm not in a panic, and I'll start the week and say, I'll roll the dice and let it tell me what to do. And then if it lands on clean your sewing space, I'll roll it again. Mark said this spring he's going to help me get this room in some control because it's out of control right now. And I told him it's starting, for a while when you're busy and your sewing room starts getting stacked up, you can handle it for a while because you're so focused on your project. But then you reach a point where you avoid the room. You just don't want to see how bad it is. You start not sleeping well. So this room is beyond this stage, and it will. Mark said, we're going to take everything out to the driveway, and everything has to then earn its way back in. I love that idea. I love it. So I just wanted to show you a little something I got for myself for Christmas. I got it from Temu. It was like $3, $4. And it is for knitting or hand embroidery, whatever, crocheting. And you just put your threads in there, pull it up through the hole, and there you go. And the reason I got this is because I have 3 dogs. So I don't like yarn or floss to get near the floor or the couch they sit on. And while you're working and it's unrolling, it tends to kind of go a little wild on you. So I said, this will keep it nice and clean. So just wanted to show you, it's just the simplest little thing, but it's perfect. So there is that. Thought I'd show you while I was thinking about it. So this week I was feeling a little stressed one night. One day I woke up. I woke up in a bad mood. I don't know why. And oh God, that would be so much fun. I would just hate for you to see how bad it really is, but wouldn't that be a hoot? And Mark would cook for us. So that'd be great. Just Debbie was saying, wouldn't it be nice if they could come help me clean? So one night I had been in this bad mood and I thought, okay, if I get in a bad mood, because I normally am not a bad mood person, but when I get in a bad mood, usually I'm pushing myself too hard. I'm not taking time for me. So I said, what can I do? So I thought, hey, you have not painted a mandala in a while. So I'll show it to you from a distance, because from a distance, it looks pretty good. When you get up close, it's a whole nother story. But I love this dot painting. It's real inexpensive. If you have the little acrylic paints, especially if you have an acrylic medium, it really helps to keep the paint like nice and flowy, if that's a word. And the tools are very inexpensive. And I just buy these little panel boards and paint them with a black paint. And I was watching on this one. Now, granted, she was doing a much bigger one, and so it was hard to get it to translate down to this 3.5 inch. How big is this? I thought that they were going to be 4 inches, but let's just see. It's just a shy of 4 inches. But when you get up close, you kind of see that, yeah, it's a little garbled in there. So this one is probably going to be thrown away. You can paint over them, but then you'll always have the little bumpily, pebbly texture. But this is not a good one. And it shows me that, like just about anything, you have to keep practicing. I probably have not made one of these for almost a year. So I am in much need of practice, but these are great for your nerves, great for you to relax with. But you know, all these little things are kind of going at different angles. It's just, I need to practice some more. So I was never excellent at it, but I'd gotten pretty good. And I'll give you a little hint. If you make a big mistake and you can't remove it, so I find a way. I find a way because life's too short to be perfect, and good enough is good enough. So I just thought I would show you that I did take an evening to do that, and that's good for me. So also this week, besides working on this, I like to have something to do by hand in the evening because I can only sit at the sewing machine so many hours. You should see me. I've had a couple long days at the sewing machine this week. That night, especially after I come in, sit down, eat dinner, I get back up and I'm like hunched over because my back is giving me a fit. So just, I then want to just put my feet up and work on a hand project. And so remember I told you that I had picked this up recently? And I took it with me to the Myrtle Beach quilt party. And this is from the Alex Anderson Neutral Quilt that she did about 4 years ago, and I want to get it finished. It's really lovely. And then after I get that finished, one of the things I really want to finish, and it's mostly by hand, is the one Bonnie taught us 8 years ago. And that one's the fleur de lis. So I can't wait to get that one done. But I realized when I glued these flowers in place, and I take the glue stick, just a school glue stick, and I glue them in place so I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to keep checking. And I realized when I was gluing these flowers on, because I make the flowers up first, and I take and I sew the petals to the center bud. I'm hoping I'm holding that right. And I use my silk thread that I like to do with applique, but I realized I was running short of them. So then what I did is I got the scraps I had cut out and I went ahead and assembled some more. So here they are. And what I did, I had the fabric cut to the large petal shape before you turn under the seam allowances. Let me go to this camera and then I'll show you what I'm trying to. Okay, so I'm going to bring this down here. So what you do is you cut the petal shape out of freezer paper. And I really, really like this method. And the same thing with these. But before I sewed these onto the petals, I took that freezer paper out because I knew it would be very hard to get out once I started sewing the petals. So then what you do is you iron the freezer paper onto the back, the wrong side of the petal fabric. And then I take my little glue stick. Let me grab you one. Now, if you have, whoops, it is stuck. Let me get this out. I have such big hands and fingers. It's hard for me to pull things out of tiny spaces. Okay. I just use a school glue stick. But what I do is when you iron these on, the fabric extends outwards. I take the glue stick and rub it around the edge of the paper and then just fold in these little bits. And just fold them, press them down, the glue holds them, then you're ready to go. And then when I sew them on, I do the invisible stitch all the way around the edge. But when I get to about right here, have this much left to sew, then I will take and lift this paper off here and carefully pull the paper out of the petal. Then, with just this little bit that was still left unsewn, I can easily take that, kind of just tuck it back under and keep stitching the rest of the way down. So, as you can see, I have plenty of flowers left for all of my borders. Because I find I'm going to tell you something very important here, and that is make it easy. It is so hard. Sometimes people say, how do you get so much done? Well, I make it easy. I learned a long time ago, I went to a woman's house who was selling all of her quilting and sewing stuff and moving to Arizona. And she had the most amazing. Now, she had been a rep for certain machines and stuff, so she'd traveled everywhere and probably got a lot of stuff for free. But I didn't see much made. And then she confided in us that she completely cleans her house every day. And I thought, that'll do it. Because if I had to clean the house every day, I would get nothing but that done. And so we all bought her treasures for just pennies on the dollar. So I keep the house relatively clean. Mark being retired and home now, oh boy, I get up in the morning. He's already got the kitchen clean. You know, I always know when I go to wash my face in the morning, I know when he's run the dishwasher because the water is hot. So, but like yesterday, I cleaned the main bathroom. I scrubbed down the bird cages. I have 2 birds and I scrubbed down their cages and cleaned them. But I'll do little bursts of things and like dust mop and dust. And but I don't have to have it perfect. And I always said, if they put on my tombstone that she kept a perfect house, I would consider myself a failure. Now that's just me, but there are so many great things to spend time on, and I'm not going to get extra points after I die if I kept a perfect house. But that's just my opinion. So, okay, so now let me see. I showed you last week the mini house kit that I finished. It's now up on the shelf. I'm going to need some more shelves for these house kits, I tell you. All right, I told you about how I worked on my quilt class. All right, well, I think I've shown you the little things that I have. I love my Miss Lisa. Oh, you can't see it. I love my Miss Lisa flamingo bowl over there. I try to keep sweet things from y'all in this area. So thank you so much. All right. So now I think let's get to work on our snowman. Okay. And then after we do our snowman, we'll do the show and tell pictures. I have a few new pictures from you guys. And so we'll do the show and tell pictures. And then I will take this block out and show you how to fix it. Okay? All right. Well, I have been a very, very busy girl. So let's check this out. And I do want to say, remember what this is one of our amazing members found this on a site. And these sites have cropped up lately where they show you impossible, beautifully impossible things that supposedly you could order from them. And this is supposed to be like a little wall hanging quilt. They've got it laying on a table. And if you look, I've explained in a past couple of shows how you can tell that this is AI generated. This is an impossible quilt to make. Now, in saying that, I took a challenge on myself to see if I could make it as close as possible to the original. So let me show you what I've got so far. So here is what I've got. Now, if you can see this hat here, this bill protrudes. So I found a way to do that. Do you see how? There. But that was really tricky. And in doing that, it makes it wrinkly. This is not as sharp and skilled as theirs. But like I said, I am working on trying to make something that's pretty impossible because this is AI generated. Please be careful when you are looking at things, especially things they want you to buy, because you're going to have to make sure, is that realistic or is it a scam? And this kind of thing is a scam. There's no way that you could order this quilt and it's going to be this. This fabric looks like, it really looks like a knitted or woven scarf. And look how the carrot nose has wrinkles all over it. things are sewn on or glued on, but nothing's pushed down. Everything's puffy. The quilting on this is different from the quilting in the background. Look at how curvy and three-dimensional the leaves look and the berries look. Look at those beautiful wispy little branch arms. So you start to realize, okay, this is not real. Now, doing this scarf, I glued it down last week when I was here with you, but then I wasn't quite happy with it. It didn't have, you see how this one, I mean, that looks like a real scarf laying on there. And I was like, how can I make it look more like it? Well, it's kind of impossible. But I took it, pulled it back loose. I had glued it down last week. I pulled it back loose. I stuffed it more with batting in between the layers. And then I took and zigzagged around the edge. I zigzagged it to another piece of fabric because you can't just have fabric and stuffing. You have to have that third piece, that backing, so it will mound up like that. And then I glued it down with some tacky glue, fast grab, because I tried doing the fusible iron on. I'm not going to do it because trying to get it, it flattened my hat here in an odd way. So you really have to use a different kind of glue. But I had to quilt these pieces before I put them on, quilt this before I put them on. I did a zigzag around the edge in white, just trying to make the hat stand out from the background. This was as wispy as I could try to get, and unfortunately, it's not mounded like this. Now, if I could have attached this somehow without having glue in the middle, I could have used a trapunto method of running yarn in with the needle. But to get it to lay down, the whole thing is glued. So I added the bird over here on my own, and I realize now he's a little large for the size of the snowman, but I love cardinals. They are my favorite bird feeder bird. I went and tried to find a whole bunch of black buttons to use for two for here, his eyes and his smile. But I do have some sad news. Somewhere in working on this and carrying it from down here to upstairs, I lost his nose. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I'll probably have to make another one. But I just glued a tiny black bead for the bird's eye. And with this, I just cut and fused the different fabrics together. Then I stitched it on the machine with red thread. Let me see, that's not big enough. I stitched it down and then stitched the wings. I did a little bit of extra stitching on the tail to kind of give him, oh, these are way too thin. Let me find my thicker micron. Microns are the best pen for using on fabric, and let me tell you why. Sharpies will work in a pinch, but understand Sharpies tend to wick up into the fabric, so they run. And so just be careful. I'm trying to cover up some of the white backing that was on this bird. I want to leave a little bit because it looks like a highlight, but looks like maybe he's got a little bit of snow on him, but I'll probably, in this case, let me see what happens if I use a Sharpie. But if it just goes on this part, I might be okay, but be careful because Sharpies will spread when you want that color to stay right where it is. Also, this is a really good thing to use a Sharpie in some of your work. When I do my art quilts, they are all mixed medium, meaning I use all kinds of different things to give them texture and dimension. Let me see. This one's supposed to be bigger. Let's see. Oh, here's a nice one. Let's see if this works. But oh, and I want to put a little mouth thing here. But this is, I use whatever I want. I use ink tints, I use permanent fabric markers, whatever. Now I'm going to put a different color here. It's supposed to be his little feet holding the branch. But now then I think I'm going to come in here and give a little roundness to his belly by coming in like this. And this also will make it feel more like his little feathers. And then back here, I'll kind of put shadow in his tail to also look like the feathers. And gives little definition. Then I'll have to take a Sharpie, but I want to cover up a lot of that white. The white is coming from, I just used a white fabric as the backing so that it would have a puffy look. Now, there's one thing I wanted to do. When I was trying to sew his beak on, I put this thread, let me move this over. I put this thread right here on his bill, and so I want to remember, I put it in the wrong place. I said, oh, no, that doesn't look good. I want to move it closer to the edge. Another thing is all of this, there we go. All of this is raw edged applique, machine applique raw edge. And one of the problems with that, his bill is not feathery. It's a nice hard little bill. Well, if the fabrics, where the fabrics fray a little bit, like up here, that's not a problem. Where the black, is frayed a little bit, that's not a problem because that just makes it look more feathery. But here with the bill, since his bill is like hard and firm, I want to clean out and not leave any featheriness. And what I can do is use some fray check on that as well. So I still have little things to do, like coming in and just putting some thin lines to kind of show his crest, and maybe a few little things like this. Do a little bit of shadowing. Ink tints would work really well for that. So just trying to give him a little bit more definition. All right, so, and then the snowman's supposed to have big buttons here, and then like medium ones for the eyes, although I'm not going to glue these down because I don't think they match well enough. But, oops, maybe this one. Would this one go any better? So I'm going to take my time and find just what's best for him. And then take the smallest of these to do for the mouth and have those come around. And I've got some tiny ones I want to find because I may even do them smaller. I've got to take it and make a new nose because I'm not sure I'm going to find it. I don't know where it went. And I use this same fabric for the band on the hat and the scarf. So, oh, I know what I was going to tell you. So with having the backing on this, I was able then to come in and sew to try to give it a little more shape. And then I did, when I was upstairs, took more, let me grab another marker. I wrong color. Let me see. And the thing is, I always grab markers, and I often grab one that doesn't have enough in it. But come in here with the markers and fill in things. Now, what else was I? Oh, right in here. Here, there was a pretty big shadow to be believable as to be a tie. There was a pretty big shadow there. And then there was a shadow over here. And I'll put a little shadow along the top because that's supposed to show it was rolled down. A little shadow here, little shadow here, and more of a shadow here. Be careful not to get that marker on the white body of it. And then just a little more to kind of show the curve of this scarf to make it look a little more real, like this. And it's just basically, I look at the original and see what they've done so far as the shadows and stuff, and then I mimic that. So that's pretty much all I'm doing is kind of mimicking what they've done. And not too much here because the lighting is better there. But just kind of go back along like this and have enough shadows. Okay, so I think, and now what I will do too is I will work on making that color a little less bold. And you can do that by bringing an eraser in. Since this is fabric, you can kind of soften some of those with an eraser, just to kind of mellow those out like this. And you can even come back in with ink tips and changing some areas of it. But I want to just give it some good definition. All right, now what I've also done, here was the drawing, and I have the drawing for free, anybody that wants it. And I keep this real handy so I can know right where to put things. Then what I did is I cut out all of the leaves. I cut the leaf, I cut a backing, and I cut some batting because I want to make this look puffy like the photo. And what I do now is making sure the number's on there. I would come in with white thread and I would stitch all the way around this edge. Stitch it down, but leaving the edge raw. Then I would come back with the stuffing and I would stitch down to do the center rib of it and then the veining. And I will show you what that looks like. Here are some that I have done. And let me see, put that there. But here are some of the leaves. Now, the one thing is, the way they look on the example is they look all wavy and such. So I thought some of these where I had ironed the interfacing down, they got kind of stiff. They kind of, with the polyester batting, it kind of flattened it. But see what I did right there? If I take these and I crunch them, will it give me the flexibility and the loose look that I would want? So each one of these I'm going to take and scrunch them to make them look more realistic. Some of them you can kind of squeeze down the end, down the vein. And I just looked at those and how they did them and thought, okay, I have to try to emulate this. How can I do it? Then, so I have plenty of leaves. I did them out of 4 different types of fabric to kind of get, here's another one that hasn't been done yet, but almost all of them have been done. Unfortunately, these, see how these flatten out? That's because they had, this is less flat because it didn't have any of the fusible to iron it down. So, but I'm just going to kind of take them and smush them, and that will give them, and what I'll probably do is not put glue on the middle, but just around the edges so that they can keep that. So this is not going to be as pretty as the original, but we already knew that the original was an impossibility. But it's like, let's see how close we can get. So I'm just smooshing these all up. Then I'll, oh, here is this piece right here is going to be the little white berries right here. So I made some berries, and here are some of the holly berries, more holly berries. Whoops, here's a couple more holly leaves. So now what I'm going to try to do is glue them down into place. All right, and then I made lots of the holly berries and even more. Now I've done some stitching to try to show the berry shape, but what I will do is take the micron and, whoops, I'm out of camera range. Let's try this again. But I will take the micron and I will outline the berries. Let me see if there's a slightly bigger one. And I'll outline the berries, and that I've already kind of sewn, try to give that some definition. But coming in and doing this will be the best way. Okay. And if you don't have micron pens, but you want to use ink tents, they are wonderful. And since we're on camera and trying to get this done, I'm going to come in with a Sharpie and hope it won't run on me. But a Sharpie is instant gratification, let me tell you. You see what you want to see right away. I'm just coming around and making the berry shapes. So, pretty easy, see? So, okay. I wish there was a way I could sew these down around the edges, but I couldn't figure out how to do that because this is on the canvas. So, it's my new kind of thing that I'm loving doing, which is making canvas art for holidays because it is so easy to make and to display. All right, so now what I'm going to try to do is kind of figure out where do these little guys go. This would look really good here. 13. I numbered them all, but then I realized, oh shoot, I'll just look at the picture and see what looks good where and not worry about it. Some of them, when I was preparing them and putting the little veining in, you see how I just did the glue around the edge, but some of them where I was just putting the veining around, I misplaced the number. Now what I'm doing as I put it down is I'm scrunching it, and I'm just gluing the edges so they look like they're sewn down, but it allows the middle to kind of be a little more soft and fluffy. You probably will have a hard time seeing it, but I will hold it up to show you. Okay, so here's this little guy. I've got this color, and then this is probably going to go up top. That goes above his hat, I believe. Make sure to crunch it up good. Crunch it up, and then just put glue right around the edge. And what it means is, even though this is fast grab, well, it's not perfect. So don't forget to keep coming back and kind of pushing the edge down, kind of scrunching it, give it that scrunchy shape. So see how this has got a scrunchy shape. And then this one, because sometimes they'll relax a little bit when the glue is still setting up. So just kind of keep it scrunching. Make sure you keep pushing it down, keeping the shape. All right, this one. This one looks like, well, it's too big now. It runs into the cardinal. I will try a smaller one there. Like, yeah, this one. So let me scrunch this really good. Little did I know that scrunching would turn out to be such a good skill. So, okay. But it's the only way that I could figure to get that kind of movement that the inspiration photo implies. So in this case, I'm kind of pushing it down, and I'll keep coming back and checking it to make sure it's still crunching. Make sure it hasn't relaxed. And then I'll come back and do a little trimming where I need to, if I need to hide the backing. Whoops, you couldn't even see that. I apologize. Here we go. I'm putting that one there. And let's see, a couple more. But at least you get a chance to see how I'm doing this. And then I need a nice big one down here. This will work really, really good. Now this does have some fusible on it, so probably be good to pull this off. Okay. I don't think it's going to want to come off. So let me keep scrunching it. Bring it. All right. So now I'm going to put glue around this edge. But anyway, I took the time to cut out all the fusible and then didn't like it. So I'm trying not to use it. This is a beautiful crunchy leaf that'll look really nice. But you just kind of got to keep making sure it's stuck. Making sure it's scrunchy. Don't let it smooth out on you. Just keep pushing it down and making the scrunch. All right. And then these cute little berries are going to go right here. Now what I'm going to do with these berries is make sure to cut these out with a good shape so that it helps it look like a real little berry. I don't know if they're supposed to be I don't think hollies have berries that look like this. Maybe it's supposed to be a, um, what do you call it? What is the little thing people kiss under? But maybe it's supposed to be that. I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to put this, I'm going to put the glue everywhere. And then I will come back, and these have a little dot in the center of each berry. Mistletoe, that's what I was thinking. I wonder if these are supposed to be like mistletoe berries. I'll put a little light, very light line around them. So making the 5 quarts of spaghetti sauce, boy, was that a job. But it was fun. You know, it's not that, it just a few minutes longer than it would take to make them anyway. And let me make the dot a little darker. And but I cut up 5 big onions. I cut up garlic. Cut up a lot of things to cook. So my hands are going to smell like it for a bit. Now see how I'm making sure that I bend this down to keep some shape from that. And then over here, there's supposed to be like a little cluster of 4 berries. Now I'm going to come around here and cut off some of this white so it doesn't show too much. Okay. But it's just, what can I do to make this look like the picture when I know that it's really not very possible? But the thing I was worried the most about was the brim of the hat. And luckily managed to pretty much figure that out. All right, so this has all been sewn down. And let me make sure I cut away the batting. The batting wants to peek out. And this is where, if you could sew it down, it would be nice, but not quite possible. All right, I'm going to glue this down. All right, I'm going to take and glue this here, and then come in with the Sharpie and do outlining. Okay, let me do one more here, and then cut away the excess berries. I don't need it all. Okay. Let me put a little glue here. This came open when I cut the back part away. Now, I have some of these little leaves that are supposed to go down here. So let me scrunch those up pretty good. And, oh, that's good. Okay. Let's put this one, scrunch it good. And just go back and check all your scrunching ones and make sure they're still scrunched, because they will tend to move a little. All right. And then there's supposed to be another one of these. Let me see. This is a pale blue. Ooh, this would be real pretty right there. Okay, so I'm going to scrunch this one. When I'm all done with this, I'm going to make sure to brush it off really good and then possibly take a damp cloth to get off any glue that might have smeared around. So, okay. Now I'm going to scrunch this right up here. Okay. You know what? I don't like the way that fits right there. Let me see if I can pull. Here we go. Now, I'm going to cut this off in the back. I don't want it showing through. And put a little more glue right at the, at the edge of that berry. And put this. Yeah, now that looks better. But let me get this scrunched up. Give it some texture. All right. All right. So, okay. That's looking pretty good. And, you know, and when we're not here, I'll come in and fill in a little bit more. Oh, this would go really pretty right there. So let me just do some more scrunching. This, I wish I, oh, I'm able to get some of this paper off. That's good, because it'll make it a little less stiff. Okay. But anyway, this took a lot of cutting out, a lot of trying to figure, how am I going to make this work? How can I give shape and movement to these pieces of fabric? And so this is the best way I could find. You might be able to figure out a great way of doing it. It would have probably been easier if I didn't make it one of my canvas works, but I'm just having so much fun doing canvas projects. Make sure these berries stay glued down. All right, so this one's going to go up here. Kind of tuck under the snowman just a wee bit. And I do love this tacky fast grab. I use this for my miniature dollhouses. They work really well. And I thought, oh, this would be nice. I can go ahead and put it in here. Just making sure it's nice and scrunchy. And then hold it down for a bit to help the glue hold. Okay. Now, this is going to go over here. Okay. But this is one thing that, you know, I always thank you for all that you do for the channel, because when you show up, it inspires me to make things and it keeps me focused. And I really appreciate that more than I can tell you. And it's great. It gives me, you know, it's like, ooh, what can I do with the group? What can we make? And thank you. And whether you send pictures of things that give me the inspiration or what, it means quite a lot. All right, so I'm just going to put a few more. I don't want this to take forever. I'll put just a few more real quickly. And then during this week, I'll make sure to finish the rest of this. And it looks better to have the berries on the over on the top of the leaves. It gives them a little more definition. All right, this one. Okay, this one's going to come out here. I'm just trying to give it that texture that I'm seeing. Okay. So this is more, it's considered an art quilt, but we're not. Actually, I have quilted it because there are at least 3 pieces, and it is quilted because I quilted the pieces before I glued them down. But this is more of textile art, you might want to say. And let me grab some of this. Okay. Now, let me just quickly look and see. I'm not sure where I'm going to put all of this, so I may just lay them out for right now. Although I did want a light blue one up here. Like that. Just going to kind of lay them around. And I've got more of the berries. This is going to kind of go like this. And then this leaf can kind of go here. Let me see. Okay, this is all I have at the moment of the leaves. I've got a couple more to make, but hopefully now you kind of understand where I'm going. I think I'm going to try to find some of the smaller little buttons. These actually look pretty good here, so I'm going to go ahead and glue these down. And one's supposed to be kind of up there. Move it a little closer. All right, and then I will work on making him a new nose or finding the other one. But these I'll just glue on to leave for right now. To have more of the berries. Okay, this berry is going to go up near the top. I have a single berry that, where was this supposed to go? I don't know, so I might just put it there. And I'm not sure, this one might go somewhere like that. But now you can kind of see where we're going. And here is the inspiration. Here's what we have. And here is the inspiration. And once I get his face on, then that, let me see. This was going to be an eye. Then this maybe could be an eye. I'm not sure. Whoops, maybe this one's better. Let's try this one. But just to kind of give you a little idea, I'm going to find some of my smaller buttons for the mouth. I think they would be a lot cuter. But, and he's definitely got to have a nose. So, but here is, it's not, as you can see, it's not as pretty as the one. I mean, that's really classy looking. And it's kind of hard to do. I've got a few more. I want to make a few more little leaves. But here it is. So, good luck. If you can buy something that really looks like that, you do it. But don't count on anything. It was really hard to try to make some of the things that were supposed to happen. And I'll end up, as right now, it's still an adolescent. So once I get everything in place, and then once I come in, like I like to come in and with the Sharpie and come in and kind of outline these leaves because it gives them more depth. It gives them, there's little shadows on some of these. So having it come in and come down like this and do a little bit of shadowing, it is really going to make a big difference. So by next week when you see it, I'll have it finished, everything kind of in its place, things looking a lot more real, and I'll see how close I can get it to the inspiration. But right now, it's still a little bit awkward. I think one thing I'm going to do is take floss and do his little toes so you can actually see his little toes. So there we go. And I think I'm going to make some of these smaller. They're a little bit big for up here. So, but anyway, there we go. Here is my version of a snowman. Come back next week and you'll see him completed. And that's about that. In fact, let me turn off this light. And then I'm going to bring you down and show you the textures. That's one thing you haven't been able to really see is all of the textures. So see how the scarf has texture, how this hat has texture, the cardinal has texture, and an eye. So just kind of showing the relief, the three-dimensional quality that I was trying to go for. So it was an experiment, and it was tough. This was definitely a challenge. Definitely a challenge. So I'll neat and tidy it up and then get his nose on. It's got to have a nose. So I will get all that part done, and next week you'll see the absolute finished product. If I hold him up now, I'd love to be able to hold him up, but all the little things that aren't glued down will fall off. So there we go. Now, let's go and do show and tell. And then let me quickly take this quilt off so I can show you how to fix a block, a problem child block. Okay. All right. I've got the quilt. Now I've got my seam ripper. I'm going to make sure to move all of this well far away from my class quilt, because if I were to get a permanent marker on it, it would definitely make me ill. So let me move this over. And hopefully I can add a few more touches to the snowman to make him just a little cuter in his own right. All right, come back to the main. Okay. All right, here we are. So I'm going to get ready and do show and tell, but while I'm doing it, I'm going to see if I can get this block loose. I need to turn the whole thing. I sure do. Okay. I need to turn the whole thing. So let me just get a little bit started and then we'll do show and tell. All right. And you know one thing, sometimes I try to slide the seam ripper down in between the seam, but be really careful because when you slice that beautiful fabric, it'll make you ill. So well, in fact, this might be a good time to show you something. The best person that I ever saw who did seam ripping was Jan Nelson. And what she would tell people is, here is the seam right along here. She would go along and break every third or fourth thread. See, like this? Go along every third or fourth. Well, look what happens when you do that. Then you can pull the rest apart. So sometimes I get kind of impatient and I want to run it through like this, but every time I do it, I cut something, whether it's a little bit. But if you just come along and every third or fourth thread from the bobbin thread, just break it like that. And then you can just pull it right apart. So thank you, Miss Jan. Miss Jan is so patient and so calm. It's like, maybe when I grow up, I could be more like Miss Jan. All right, so, yeah, just looking again to see how far does this block go. It goes kind of a lot. So let's go to see show and tell. All right, I'm going to close this one out. And, okay, so let's see. All right, this is the image of the teacher's quilt. The one who taught the class at Myrtle Beach. And that's, luckily Miss Lisa gave me the French General fabric last year. So I knew this would be the perfect project for it. And boy, is French General just gorgeous. So thank you for that. Now let's see what else I have. This is the dollhouse that my daughter made. And her camera work is so beautiful that it looks more like a real house. So she took and made that couch. I guess she had to fold and glue the vinyl fabric to do it. And she made the little things sitting on the table and made this came as a kit, and she made the paintings. You know, they'll have you glue things and the lampshade, and I just think it's adorable. And I love the little conservatory sunroom back there, and she glued all the little plants together. But what a sweet thing. So let me see. I think I have another one. Yep, here's another angle. And it looks like one of the little couch legs. You know, sometimes that glue comes loose, but she glued those on. But she did an outstanding job of gluing all of this. But isn't that the cutest? It's just magical because it's like it almost looks real and it's so exciting. But you can see it's a tiny little thing sitting on her dining table. But isn't that sweet? So, way to go, Miss Katie. And that's my daughter, Katie. Then my grandchild, Charlie, is shown at their cosmetology school. So that loving life, let me tell you, they love their life. So way to go, Charlie. Then I've got some pictures from my son of his sons. They had snow up in Maryland. And here, I can't quite tell. I think that's Donnie up there. They're only about 15 months apart. So you have to really see them good. There's Nikki doing some shoveling and the boys playing. How cute. Then Nikki made them snow cream. Is that the coolest thing? I love that. I said, boy, you do some great fun things. That is just wonderful. Then here is one of them doing some shoveling. Then Chris and Nikki went with two other families to a ski resort and had a good time there. I love that they're giving their children so many memories. Let me see now. This is my son right here, and he's standing there with a friend. They were doing some snowboarding. I can't imagine doing snowboarding. Here is their car loaded up for the weekend away. Isn't that the cutest? Oh my goodness, I remember those days, that how much time it took to load up and how many things you loaded up to go on a trip. So that's all from me this week. Now let's go back and see. Miss Bonnie has her quilt that we showed you last week, but I love it. And really nice. And, it's a nice, crisp, fresh quilt, although with Valentine's Day coming up, it's pretty appropriate. Now let's see who is next. Charlene, I'm sure, is still working on her jacket. And Debbie, Debbie sent me some new pictures. Oh no, did I not? Oh, Debbie, I forgot to download them. Oh, pooh, I even saw them. Miss Debbie has wonderful photos. Oh, pooh. Oh, pooh. I let Debbie down. She was so good and sent me wonderful photos of her Valentine's decorations. So, okay, hold on one second. Okay, these are from Miss Hopi. And look at these icicles. Is that unbelievable? Look at the level of the snow. And then these beautiful, she makes the most beautiful purses and totes and bags. And then look at this. And you know what this wire is to going to her car? It's keeping, I guess it's the engine block. It's keeping it warm so she can start it. And look at the height of the snow. Isn't that unbelievable? And here's a close-up of the beautiful work she does. Look at all these wonderful professional touches. She's excellent at it. And that's the Labradorian flag. And look at these. Aren't they beautiful? Beautiful, beautiful. And then she sent this picture. How cute is that? That someone made a snow sewing machine. I love that. Then here is our Miss Hopi. And do you notice the height of the snow? And she said that snow is there until spring. What do you think? And then she sent me this. She said, I'm sitting here watching you and while I'm sewing. I thought that was so cute. Our Miss Hopi has had some vertigo, so be thinking about her. Here is another photo of her snowy wonderland neighborhood. Look at that snow. So, let me see. Was that the last one? Yes, that was the last one. But thank you, Miss Hopi, for sharing that with us, because most of us would never, ever have a chance to see that much snow. Now, let me see. Did Miss Joe? No, but while we're here, I'll just show you one more shot of her amazing whale quilt. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, let's go back and see who is next. Do I have any? Yeah, I have a picture from Marcia. Marcia sent me this great crocheted pouch that she made for herself. I love that, Miss Marcia. Way to go. Good job. I thought I was doing pretty good gathering photos this week, but now let me see. Let me go back here. Michelle has a wonderful snow picture because they had a good amount of snow in Rhode Island. So look at that. So she sent me a picture of that. And let me check this. No, not that one. Let me see. Oops, close this one out. I can't imagine having that much snow. So, okay. Now let me try one thing really quickly while you are enjoying the snow photo. Let me find. Let me see. I was trying to find Debbie's email, but oh, here we go. Here we go. Let me see. Okay. Let me see. Yes, yes, yes. Hold on, Miss Debbie. I'm not going to let you down, darling. You worked hard to send me these photos, and I don't want to miss them. So let me save as and come down here to Hopi and back to Debbie. Where is my Debbie? Yes. Okay. Oh, did it not work? Well, let me see what I can do. There. Oh, this is fantastic. Hopefully you're seeing. Yes, you are able to see that. So look at this wonderful. This is up in her, I call this her staircase gallery. And isn't that wonderful? I love it. And here is another one. Oh, she did red work. Look at that. And look at that one on the stand. That's lovely. And what is this one? Come on, one more. Come on, you can do it. Oh, yay. Oh, this is cute. It's Valentine's, this little envelope for the Valentines. Now let me see if I think I've got another one. And it might be the same one. This one is. Let me try one more. I didn't know I could do this. Oh, they're all the same. Okay. So oh, I didn't see this one. Wait a minute. Let me see if I can bring this up. Save as, let me find. Let me hold on 1 second. I think I've just about got it. Okay, let's see if this ended up working. Miss Debbie took a class, and it was a self-portrait class. So let me see if I manage to save it. I love these Valentines decorations. How wonderful. Okay, let me back out of this one and go to show and tell. Whoops. Come on. And right now, the machine's being good to me. So I'm very happy. Here is our Debbie's self-portrait quilt she made from that class. Isn't that fun? I love it. Way to go. I love that. So way to go, Miss Debbie. All right. Now I forgot where I was, what block I was trying to fix. There it is. Okay. All right. So thank you everyone for sending the photos. You did a great job. And now I'm going to come back here. I'm so glad I could show those pictures. Thank you for being patient with me, Debbie, because it means a lot. When you send me something, I want to make sure that I respond, number one, to you, and then that I actually show it. So what I'm doing now is just going along to take out this block, and we've got a few minutes left, and I'll show you what I like to do. When you're taking out, in fact, now you know what? Oh, no, Mark told me don't use that camera because it's upside down, which you knew because you when I held something up, it was upside down. So now what I'm going to do is come along here. I'm just carefully picking out some stitches. What you will find is sometimes it's better to take a big area open to try to sew the block back in. But when in doubt, baste it by hand, then come back. So, but what I was going to show you is if you try to remember how you put the block in place, what side to what side did you sew it, it will help you in putting it back in place. And meaning this row went all the way down. So when I go to sew it back in, I'm going to take and open this little bit right here up. This is the block that was right beside it. So if I open this part up, then I'll be able to sew this back in the right way and then sew this as one piece. So you just kind of just pay attention to how that you sewed this together. Like it was sewn to this piece before it was sewn to the sashing. So you'll kind of use that same order to put it back, and it just makes things so much easier because you don't run into odd areas where it was sewn and ironed in a different direction. So you're kind of just going with the flow. Let me get this off real quickly. I'm really tickled at y'all who picked up on which block was the one that didn't belong. Which one of these is not like the other or not where it's supposed to be. But let me quickly pull this out. Oh, I know why it's taking me so long to get this out. There's a double stitching here. So, of course, that would take a little longer. All right, now I should have cream thread. I've got gray. Let me grab a thing of cream thread. And I'm just going to kind of lay out. In fact, I might not even have to sew it. Maybe what I'll do, as soon as I get it out, and the main thing is please do me this. Double and triple check. When you put the block back in, please check 2 or 3 times because honestly, it is so easy to put it right back in the wrong way again. And so take your time, pin it, look at it, double check, because every time you take out a seam, you can damage and stress the fabric and stretch it out. Oh my goodness. I used to have a rule, and it still is my go-to rule. that I only take things out at the maximum of 3 times. If I can't get it right, it stays. I live with it. And the reason is because you'll end up just destroying the fabric. And if you don't, if you have enough to replace it, great. But if you don't, you're in trouble. So now I'm just going to kind of try to zip along here. Okay. And zip along here. Okay. Almost out. And I'm definitely going to get my pin cushion because you want to pin it really good. This is not a time to take a shortcut. Go ahead and spend the time to pin it in place. You want it to look like it's never been messed with, that it was done right from the beginning. And there have been times when I fixed a block that it just looked bunchy. It was awful. So, okay, now it's out. The first thing I'm going to do, I forgot to tell you this, and that is to press it. So my iron is heating up. All right, here is where it goes. And it's actually good to press all the edges. Press them smooth because it will help so much in placing this. But the first thing is press this. It's trying to sew over bent seams is not the best. Okay, let me bring my iron a little closer. Now, let me see. I'm going to see if I can get it to... I'm ironing on my desk, so I'm going to not have it quite as hot. Okay, let me heat it back up just a little. All right. So here is the big block. So it's supposed to be facing out. All of the blooms are facing out. So here is the way it's supposed to be. Now let me see if I can press it. And then I'll get my pin cushion. Okay. All right. So here it is. Now let me grab my pin cushion. And if you can, let me back up the camera so you can see. So you can see the blocks going this way, blocks going this way. So here it is. Now I'm going to sew it back in to the place it was first sewn to. That would be right here. See how the seam, whoops, hello pen. See how the seam goes all the way across? So it was first sewn to this, making sure I have at least 1/4 of an inch here. Okay, it faces the outside, so this gets sewn to this. And some people hate to tear away any or open up any more seam than they have to, but honestly, it only takes a little moment to sew those extra stitches. So see, this is where it was first sewn. So I've got this. Okay, let me put a pin even in the middle because you're not able to lay it flat like you normally did the first time. So now let me bring this over here. And I dropped something on the floor. I heard that. I don't know what it was. All right. Whoops. So my daughters taught me to put tomato sauce in because normally I put tomato paste in my spaghetti, and then I put diced tomatoes, can of diced tomatoes. And they said, Mom, one of them was watching, I don't know if it was Ina Garden, and she talked about putting um, tomato sauce because it gives a depth of flavor. So now I do that. It really does make wonderful spaghetti. So, and then we also cut up a bunch of mushrooms. So it was nice. All right, so now I've sewn that first side. Okay, I'll bring it up and take out these pins really quickly. All right, so now what's the next part that I sewed it to? That would be this piece because it's part of this big block. So now I'm just reverse engineering it, just going backwards and doing it in the order that I first sewed it. This makes things so much easier. So I've got this seam and I pin it in place, and I'm putting all 3 pins in because it will hold it. It will keep it from, you've got all of this that you're trying to get under the machine. So it works so much better. Now, I think, yep, this seam originally was going this way, so I'm going to put it that way now and sew over it. All right. Here we go. Now I'm going to stitch across here. But if you follow the reverse method, it will make it so much easier. And it should line up a lot prettier as well. All right, take these pins out. All right. Now, what was the next place that I sewed it? I am pretty much betting it was to this sashing. So now I just come and place this here. This would have been the very next step. And pin, pin, pin. Making sure things line up. Because you're, like I told you, taking it out, messing with it, ironing it, putting it back can stretch out some of your seams. So make sure everything lines up, even if you have to, pardon me, even if you have to push it just a little. Okay, ease it in. All right, so, and I'm going back just a little bit, coming back over the seam, just to make sure everything is smooth, and carefully sewing where I see I've sewn before. So, okay, and I'm going to leave this little 1/4 of an inch seam here. I'm not going to sew all the way to the end. Come right up to that 1/4 of an inch mark. But sometimes you have to be able to ease it into the next side. Okay, take these out. So now I've got all 3 of the 4 done. So I just have one more seam left. And good, the iron's still hot. Now I'm going to come in here and bring this up. The last seam is right here. And just go ahead and pin it in place. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And then I may want to come and just touch up this little cross seam. But the main thing is, too often I've rushed it and then had it kind of pucker. I hate that. So now I'm going to come in, and I'm only going to go to the 1/4 of an inch mark on this one too, because we're going to touch up that one little partial in a moment. So come up to this 1/4 of an inch and stitch right along the former crease. All right, and here we are. Okay, so now that's the 4th of the 4 sides. And let's come back here and see, yes, right along here, it's a little bit loosey-goosey. So I'll just lay this down, stitch this into place. Making sure I try to smooth and make sure to kind of ease one line of stitching with the next. All right, so now it's completely sewn back in. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to open it up and press it and then show you. So, okay. Oops, and I didn't quite meet, so I may try to, which one was it? I'm having a hard time knowing. Wait a minute, which one was it? Well, usually I can tell, although this one's pretty off. Maybe it was this one. No, it's this one. I can see. Now I can see, because see, it's a little bit fluffier. So let's see how this is going to do. But now I got to fix that. Now that I've seen that, hey. Okay. So there it is. And I finally could tell because it was just a little fluffier. And now I will hold this up and show you how that is now fixed. And you know what? It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. You always go, oh, gee, to try to fix it. But there it is. That wasn't bad at all. What do you think? That wasn't bad at all. Okay, there we go. We're all done now. Thank you for watching that. I hope you might have picked up a hint or two that would make you less worried about repairing a little a boo-boo, because you're going to make them. You know, if you want somebody perfect, then get a computer to do it, right? All right. Thank you for joining me today. Y'all are wonderful. I can't thank you enough for spending this time with me, giving me friendship and inspiration like you always do. So thank you. Have a great week this week. I'm going to make sure to do a little polymer clay. I know I've got to get my daughter's wedding quilt going, but I think I need one evening. I need to spend a little time with polymer clay. So we'll see what I make this week. Take good care. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. I'm sticking with it because, you know, the older you get, the harder it is to carry it around. So y'all have a great week, and please do something just for you. And I made sure to put my email address in the description so you can send a picture of what you're working on to share with our show and tell. Thank you, everyone. You are the best. Take good care of yourself. Oh, y'all are the best. Thank you so much. Take good care. Thank you again. Bye-bye.